How do you become the absolute best choice for your target audience? Let me ask you this. Do you know why your next client is going to choose you over your competition? Do you know how they even see you, how you're seen by your potential clients, or what it is that makes you different from everybody else out there that's selling very similar services to you? Because if you're like most business owners, you probably leave this to chance. And so people have a perception of your business by default, whether you have intentionally gone about trying to influence that, or whether that's just something they've come to from their own conclusions. And typically what ends up happening with a lot of independent and small business owners is that you end up trying to do all of these very not self things to try and get attention online, whether it's on social media or whether it's through your emails or whatever other tactics that you're using, because you're seeing other people, other successful people doing these things, and you end up trying to follow and watch what they're doing. And what's so ironic about this is that you actually end up getting very lost in the crowd and really getting drowned out by the noise, by following everybody else. So what I want you to do, I want you to imagine for a moment, I'm going to take this a little bit out of context of business because I really find that it helps to share analogies of other situations where I can really demonstrate the power of this strategy to you. So indulge me here. I want you to imagine that you're joining a yoga class. Okay, so you've arrived for this yoga class, and this yoga class is a little bit different. It's a really, really big space. And there are lots of people there, and they're all there to practice yoga. Okay, but this class is different because this time you've actually got an audience. Okay, there's an audience of people who you're trying to impress with your moves. Because at the end of the class, those people are going to choose the person that they want to follow, the person that they want to practice their yoga with, okay, the person that they want to create a relationship in this space with. So now you have to decide how you're going to position yourself in this yoga class. How do you want to be seen by the people watching from the outside? Are you going to go and put down your mat in the most crowded space in the whole room where all the mats are on top of each other, and you're likely going to get knocked about a bit by everybody else? You're competing for space. You probably won't be seen fully by the audience. And ultimately, you're not going to be able to really stretch yourself. So you're going to end up doing everything a little bit condensed, a little bit small, a little bit kind of, I'm just gonna hide out here with everybody else. And so you're not really very visible to your audience at all. And then you're going to wonder why the audience don't choose you at the end of this class. Or are you going to be that person who goes and finds their own space, who is okay with being a bit different, going and standing somewhere else where everybody else isn't standing, and potentially moving away from what everybody else is doing so that you can start to make some of your own moves that start to get noticed, and really find your own flow and find your own pace and, strike your own poses. Because this is really what it means to find your marketing position. It's how you be different to everybody else so that your audience can pick you out and you become that obvious best choice for them because they see what you're doing and they like it. They're like, this person's doing something a bit different and it really resonates with me. So I had a client of mine yesterday actually say to me, a friend of mine is so clear on what she's doing and she's really, really focused. And I really want to do that too. But I just feel like I'm adding to the noise. And I was like, well, you are adding to the noise. If you're trying to follow, if you're watching what somebody else is doing and you're comparing and you're thinking that you should do things the exact same way, and you're saying the same things and you're doing the same things, you are adding to the noise. So what we want to do is we want to create healthy competition in our industry. We don't want to look at everybody else and say, oh, I need to do it the way they're doing it because it looks like they're doing it and they're having some success. Because the truth is, you don't really know how successful anybody else is. So this is about creating a healthy competition where you are comfortable with saying, you do you and I'm going to do me. So there's 3 reasons why we want to create market position, okay? Market positioning. And the first one of that is the differentiation, okay? Deciding what it is that makes you unique is what's going to capture the attention of an audience that are interested enough in what you're doing to take action. Because here's the thing, when you are blending in, when you are being beige, when you are being like everybody else, then people, they neither like or dislike you enough to do anything. They just keep scrolling. They don't take action. They don't inquire. They don't buy. They don't react to your post. They don't engage. They're just like, they do nothing. And that's the worst reaction that we want from our audience, is to do nothing. So being the same is basically a guaranteed scroll. It's a guaranteed scroll on by your content. And by differentiating yourself, it not only tells your audience why you're the best choice and why you're different, but it gives them a reason to do something. And the thing is like, yes, you have to tell them. You have to tell them why you're different, because they're not mind readers. It has to be glaringly obvious. When I come to your Instagram page, when I visit your website, why you are different. I need to be able to see an obvious reason why I'm going to buy from you over everybody else doing the same thing. So differentiation is really important, and that's why we position ourselves. The other really important thing is your pricing strategy, okay? When you're different, when you have a clear position, it actually justifies your price. So if you want to be a business that's charging premium prices and you want to be able to raise your prices because you feel like you're not getting paid your worth right now, but you've created this like budget position for yourself so far, it's never going to add up for your buyer. If you're not creating a premium position for yourself, there'll be this massive disconnect and dissonance that makes your client very uncomfortable because they can't add the price to the position of how you are showing up. So if you imagine Ryanair, for instance, suddenly start becoming the most expensive airline in the industry, or Chanel start charging budget prices for their handbags, people are going to be suspicious. Something's not going to add up for them because they have created a clear position for themselves. Ryanair is a budget airline. Chanel is a luxury brand. So suddenly there's a dissonance between how they've positioned themselves and their pricing. Okay. So if you want to charge premium price, you have to create a premium position for yourself in your industry. And the thing is, it's like when pricing is high, because of the quality and the exclusivity of your product and the way in which you position yourself reinforces that, then the cost isn't even a thing for the buyer. It's very reasonable in the eyes of the buyer. Okay. And this works both ways equally. Like when the price is cheap as well, that tells the buyer a lot about what they're going to get. And then the third reason why we want to create a market position is because of creativity. Okay. So the devil is in the detail. You have to sweat the small stuff in your business, because when there are many services and products in your space, all similar, all saying the same thing, offering the same services on the same social media platforms, targeting the same people, then being unique is going to make or break your business, truly. Like you cannot be beige in a sea of beige because you're just going to blend in. Okay, so how do you actually do this? Like what are the things for finding a position for your brand? I think there's 3 things that you really need to take note of when you're doing this. You've got to be real about it. Okay, so when you're finding a position, it has to be true for you, because if it's not true for you, if there's that dissonance between how you're positioning yourself and what you really are, then people are going to feel that and they're not going to trust you. So that's the first thing. You've got to be consistent with it. Okay. So whatever your positioning is now, what is true for you now should still be true for you a year from now. Okay. We're not creating, something just for the moment. This has to be real and it has to be relevant is the final thing. So when I say relevance, like the differences that you're talking about have to be important for your audience. You can't just be different for the sake of being different. It's like, oh, I'm different because I've got pink hair. So what? That doesn't add any value to your audience. So they don't care about that difference. Does that make sense? So those are three things to bear in mind. But the first thing that I would do, starting to think about this, is create a competitive landscape for yourself. Okay. Don't be afraid of competition. Create a competitive landscape. So start to think about, first of all, this is your first step. Write this down. What are all the other businesses that offer similar outcomes to yours? And what I mean by this is like they might not necessarily have the exact same business, but they can offer similar outcomes. So they might have a slightly different way, but ultimately they could be an alternative choice for your client. And if for instance, I don't know, you help people with stress and anxiety as a coach, and you have certain methods of doing that, the other alternative for your client is potentially a Headspace app or a Calm app, because those businesses also offer the same sort of outcomes as you do. They just do it in a totally different way. Okay, so then you need to have a look at, okay, what's different between you and them? So is it that actually, they offer a very one size fits all approach versus a very personalized approach? Is their price point very different? Are they maybe like a single service business? They're very specialist. They just operate in one thing. Or are they broad? Are they offering a wide range of services? Are they much more inclusive? What is the level of service like that you get? Is it a very high level of service, or actually is it very like self-service? What are their modalities that they're using? Like what kind of modalities are they using? Like, are they a self-service app? Are they offering, highly personalized coaching? So just look at all the potential choices that your ideal client could potentially make. And then you need to build your position into your core marketing message. So once you understand how you're different, you actually need to put that piece of messaging very clear at the forefront of your business. So whether you create a strapline or a description that tells your audience about your position, make sure it's obvious. Okay. So let's have a look at an example that we can relate to when it comes to market positioning. And I'm going to give you the example of supermarkets, because we all have to shop in supermarkets. Okay. Not my most favorite thing in the world, but it has to be done. There has to be food in the fridge. So let's have a look at like what's called like the big five of the supermarket. So in fact, I think it's probably more now because you've got your Lidls and your Aldis coming into this mix, but they were always used to be called the big five. And at the kind of like bottom end, you've got supermarkets like Asda, for instance. So Asda have positioned themselves as budget, value, big deals, low prices, no frills or fancies. And they've used the market position strapline, that's Asda price, for as long as I can remember. Do you remember the adverts with the woman like, doot, doot? She's focused on how cheap they are. Like cheap is Asda's thing. That's what they're known for. Budget, value. Versus the top end of the market, you've got a supermarket like Waitrose. Okay, now they have positioned themselves as quality, taste, ethics, values. Like they value their partners, they value their sustainability, they value their produce, their producers, their suppliers. And they're all about like celebrating food that makes a positive difference in people's lives. And their positioning statement always used to be quality food, honestly priced. And they've kind of moved now to this new position of food to feel good about, because they're all about like feeling good about the whole supply chain, from their farmers to the quality of their food to your experience in store. It's all about quality, quality, quality. So you've got two supermarkets with a very clear position, makes it so clear. If I said to you, are you an Asda shopper or a Waitrose shopper? You would be able to tell me that. It's such an obvious choice for you. Which one of those you resonate with? Do you want budget, value, or do you want quality and ethics? Okay, so when I started thinking about doing this for my own business and looking at like the sea of business coaches out there, I knew I needed to stop comparing myself to everybody else in terms of how could I be more like them? How could I be more like the people who are the market leaders, the Tony Robbins of the world, the Simon Sinek's of the world? And I had to start thinking about, how am I different? Not how can I be the same, but how am I different? And I came up with five points that really summarize my market position for my business. And the first one of those is expertise. This was really important to me. I've got 18 years experience in the industry. I've been in marketing and business growth and development for 18 years now, working with big global brands as a startup consultant with entrepreneurs. I've built my own businesses. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and go, oh, I've taken a course in business coaching. Now I'm going to become the next business coach. Okay. This was really important for me to differentiate in the industry, because I do think there's a lot of Me Too coaches out there. And I am backing my business on credibility and almost 2 decades worth of experience in strategy. Okay. So that was important to me. I knew that had to be one of my differentiators. Personalization is one of my differentiators. Like, when I work with my clients, it's very custom made. Okay. I've identified different strategies for different levels of business, depending on where my clients are in their journey. And my strategies, whether I'm working one-to-one or in programs, is built around the phase of the business that my client is in, because I understand that, what someone's doing at a certain stage of their business where, maybe they're making multiple 6 figures every year and they've been in business for 10 years is very different to somebody starting out, and the strategies and the building blocks are different. So personalization is really key. Like, I'm very, very hot on how is this relevant to my client and their business. Okay, that was the second thing. The third thing was about being holistic. So for me, when I work with clients, I'm about creating this whole business model, not about just giving you 1 or 2 building blocks. Because if you've only got 1 or 2 building blocks, you're always going to have gaps. There's always going to be a missing link. You're never going to have the full structure. You're never going to have the full house, if you like. There's always going to be something that's not working. So for me, it's like, what are those core building blocks, and how do I make sure that we're covering all of our bases here? Because otherwise we've only got a half-built business. So holistic was very important to me. Balance was really important to me. Like, I'm not just about the money. I'm partly about the money because I know that money is important for sustainable business. So success and, what that means to you is really important. But I'm also about freedom and fulfillment, because I want people to have businesses that allow them to have the freedom to live their life the way that they want to, and to have the fulfillment to do it in a way that actually feels really good. I don't care how much money you're making if you have no time off, you're constantly stressed, and you're hating your business. That to me is not success. So for me, I wanted to be a business coach that was all about balance. Like, balance is my middle name. It's what I seek out, and everything I've created in my business has been about creating balance for me, my health, my well-being, my family, my freedom, and my love of what I'm doing. And the final thing was that I'm all about results. I'm very results driven. So for me, I want to know what your goals are. I want to be able for us to create strategies around your growth and your progress, and to be able to track and measure those, so that when we're working together, you can see your evolution. Like, I want you to be able to come to the end of a program, or the end of a session, or the end of 4 months or a year working with me, and be able to look back and go, oh my God, look how far I've come. That's what I want. Okay, so my market position was based on those things: expertise, personalization, holistic, balance, and results driven. So I then very much looked at that and said, okay, how can I summarize that into a position statement that really summarizes what I'm all about versus the next person? And for me, it was about saying, I am personalized, real world growth strategy and marketing that's based around you, your business, and your next level. Okay. So you will see that. You'll see that on my Instagram. You'll see that on my new website that I'm about to launch. You'll see that in everything that I do is about those 5 things. So how can you do this? Here's your homework. Okay. Grab a pen, grab a paper if you haven't got one already. First of all, number one, write a list of all your competition. Who else could be a choice for your potential clients? Number one, list of your competition. Number two, look at how they vary and how they're the same. So just looking at your competition, not yourself at the moment, but how are they similar and how are they different? Number three, now look at how you're different from them and where are there some gaps here in your market that other people aren't doing things the same way. Look for the gaps. This, like, remember the yoga studio? You want to find a space for you to put down your mat. So where is the gap? Number four, now you can start to write down those 4 or 5 differentiators. So just like I did, what is it that's different? How do you want to be different from everybody else? This is what we call value drivers. They drive the value for your client. These are the things that your clients are going to see as valuable. They don't want somebody that's doing the same as everybody else. They want somebody that is different. So what are the things that they are going to value? Do you remember I said it has to be relevant? Has to be relevant to them. And then number 5, now go back, look at your website, look at your social media, look at everything that you put out into the world and be honest and say, how well are you talking about these things? How well are you showing these things? If I visited your social media or your website today, would I be able to pick out those 4 or 5 things that you've said are different about you? Because they have to be so clear to me that makes it easy for me to choose you. I have too many choices to make in this life. I need you to say how you're different so that I can go, that is exactly what I need. Sign me up, book me in, give me the payment link. I'm ready to go. That's what we're aiming for, ladies. Okay. Oh, okay. So let me give you this fact. 60% of you will have already left this video before we got to this point. Okay. 60%. So if you're still here, congratulations, because you are the 40% that take action, that stay the course. And those 60% have already left this video that won't even hear me say this piece will never take any action, which ironically is also why most business owners don't meet their goals, because of inaction. So congratulations, you're still here. You've passed the first test. Hopefully you've written down the homework. But I do have one small favor to ask of you if you've reached this point. If you have taken some value out of this session, if you've got some takeaways that you're going to go and work on, if you've enjoyed this video, please share my email with just one other business owner who you know really wants to grow their business as well. Because the more people who share this content, the more we can support other business owners together. And therefore, the more I will come back and drop into your inbox with these mini masterclasses to help you grow and to break down some of these more complex strategies and, marketing tactics that have maybe got you a little bit overwhelmed and you're not sure how to take action on these. So it's a win-win situation. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you sharing this email, sharing this content. You can just share the YouTube video if that's easier for you on your social media, and just tag me so that I know you've done that and I can personally reach out and thank you for that. All right, enjoy, do the homework. Let me know if you have any questions, just hit reply to this email and we can figure it out together. Right, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.